I don't believe in coincidences. I don't believe in accidents. When you're talking about in the scheme of life, you can kind of use pain as fuel to get to your destiny as far as whatever you want to do in life.
Welcome back to Salem Speakers Podcast. Today's guest has built his life around one powerful belief that your greatest pain can become your greatest purpose. Dr. Jonathean Reese is an author, educator, keynote speaker, child welfare professional, doctor of social work candidate, creator of the React model, and an IFBB professional men's physique athlete. Through his own life experience and years of serving others, Jonathean has dedicated his work to helping people transform adversity into resilience, leadership, and lasting impact. Jonathean, my friend, welcome to the show.
Yes, thank you for having me. So glad to be here.
Well, I want to start, just like I start many of these episodes, where every great story begins. Before the accomplishments, before the stages, who was Jonathean Reese?
A very ambitious kid growing up in San Bernardino, California, always heavy into sports, but there was a lot of adversity in my life as well. A lot of substance use around me, domestic violence, stuff like that, my mom went through. So I spent a lot of time with, friends outside in the community and always just dove into basketball, which I like to call my first love. And just wanting to be something special within sports in a sense. So I worked hard and well, at least I thought I was working hard until I got older. So, but before any of the accomplishments, I just wanted to be something great. I didn't know what that entailed. I always knew I wanted to impact people in a way that I can connect with people. But again, as a kid, like you don't know what that really means. So I just tried to be the best version of me, even as a kid, and just tried to stay out of trouble, even though trouble was all around me, gang violence and, just stuff like that, that thankfully I was able to avoid and, find the right path for myself.
You had dreams of basketball, right? That was the goal for you. But the moment that everything really changed for you was during an ACL injury. Can you take us back to that moment and tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, so playing high school, I had offers to go D2. That didn't pan out well just because my mom wanted to move to Arizona. So I ended up playing JUCO and then moved all the way Northern California, played up there. And then I ended up coming back and was still in like this transition phase of, okay, do I still want to play or do I want to find a career? Which I ended up finding my career in child welfare, but ended up playing and like directly just trying to get my reps back and trying to figure out, okay, am I going to continue to actually try to make this a thing and try to figure out what I'm going to do with this. And then I ended up blowing my knee out in the process of that. So it's something I had never felt before. I felt like a blowtorch was in my knee. And immediately you get these thoughts of, man, am I ever going to walk again? Like, what does this look like? Physical therapy is one of the hardest things not one, it is the hardest thing I've ever went through as far as physically, just because you're literally retraining how to walk. And if it wasn't for one, the physical therapist and the people around me who was able to put the battery in my back to be like, yo, you're gonna get through this. It's just a matter of when, and you just got to figure out how. And you don't believe that initially, right? But eventually the minutes count into hours, hours count into days, days turn into weeks, and then you're just stacking up these little small victories, and before you know it, you're limping. And then before you know that, you're walking a little bit more, and then story my physical therapist wanted me to jog outside, and I swear I thought I was not ready. And she forced me outside and said, we're going to be out here in this cold until you jog because I've been telling you to run for 2 weeks. And we were out there for about 45 minutes because I was fighting it.
Yeah.
Like I was fighting it bad. Because again, I'm still under the impression like, I don't even know if I can still walk.
Yeah.
So, but I eventually, conquered that mental hurdle and was able to, okay, I went from thinking of not walking at all to, well, I'm actually putting steps together to jog. And then that kind of motivated me to, you know what, I'm going to jog every day because this is going to strengthen my knee. ride the bike every day. So it's like those little small victories turn into like huge monumental moments that you can kind of carry over into the next day.
Yeah. Looking back now, do you believe that injury happened for you instead of to you?
In the moment, it was to me.
Yeah.
Like in the moment for sure. But um it taught me how to be resilient for sure. And it's definitely for me at this juncture in my life, just because of the simple fact that I don't believe in coincidences. I don't believe in accidents. I mean, accidents happen, but when you're talking about in the scheme of life, like things are, they're happening for a reason. You just got to navigate and find that reason. So for that injury specifically, that was like my first injury ever.
Yeah.
So one, I didn't even know how to deal with injuries, let alone how to get over them, how to rehab, how to do all that stuff. So you're talking about self-doubt, you're talking about the pain, you're talking about the sacrifice, all these things that you got to get through. And then when you look up, I've been running and lifting weights for the past, I don't know, 14 years since that injury happened. And I'm in a way, way better place because of that injury, because now I understand like, okay, adversity is going to happen no matter what. You just got to learn how to navigate and get through it.
Yeah. No, that's great and powerful. As I look through your story, one of the most meaningful parts of your story is the promise that you made to your mother during her battle with cancer. Can you go ahead and tell our listeners about that?
Yeah, and I still deal with that to this day. She passed on May 4th, 2018.
Hmm.
So in the middle of, well, not in the middle, towards the end, we're having pretty much one of our last conversations, and we're just kind of going through life, like how I've been, how she's been, how we was able to repatch our relationship, in the midst of her moving in with me. And she just starts saying like a bunch of things like she's never going to be able to see me have kids because I didn't have my daughter at the time.
Hmm.
So that was one of the things. And she goes, look, I want you to finish your degree, finish your doctoral degree, um, which I was enrolled in a doctoral program at that time, a different one anyway. And then she wanted me to compete on a bodybuilding stage because I had been talking about it for a couple of years. Like, man, I want to get in shape like these guys. Like,
Yeah.
because again, like I blew my knee out, so basketball was over. So again, I'm still looking for some type of action sport activity to get into. So what it turned out to be was I was only supposed to do one show. Now I'm like 20 shows in already. I turned pro, and so which we'll get into that in a little bit. But my
Yeah.
doctoral degree, I'm literally in the candidacy part, and I defend my study next week. So as of next week, I'll be doctorate. So I'm
That's
ready.
awesome. Well, that's awesome. I mean, so I can be the first to call you Dr. Reese because by the time this thing releases, you'll have it, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, and it's a struggle, man. Like it's hard to fathom being called that. And I kind of reject it when people at work or around me try to call me that. I'm like, nah, just because I feel like that it's a very intimate promise I made to my mom.
Yeah. I mean, it's
And
earned
like
too. That's a earned title, earned, not given, right? And so
absolutely.
you should be very, very proud of yourself for seeing that through, completing it. Let me be one of the first. I'm sure you've already been congratulated, but one of the first to congratulate you for achieving that as well. I know it couldn't have been easy.
No, not easy at all. And I fight it to this day. Like I want to quit every day. Where
Yeah.
it's the mental battles though. Like the work is the work, but it's the mental battles that you deal with. Again, the sacrifice, the are you willing to wake up in the wee hours in the middle of the night or during the morning and do the work that's needed to, fulfill this promise. And even though like I want to quit, like I'll never not or never turn my back on my mom as far as not fulfilling my promise.
Yeah. Well, sounds like you're doing it. Sounds like you're fulfilling all the promises, that and so much more. What do you think your mother would say today if she could see everything that you've accomplished, you're accomplishing me? What do you think she would say?
What took you so long? My mom was hard, man. But because again, I was enrolled in a previous doctorate program and I
Yeah.
ended up not finishing that one, but that was a school issue. And that was one of those moments where I was like, yo, I don't think I'm gonna do this, but I'm very stubborn and she knows that. And it's just like, no, like I gave her my word. Like I need to find another program, find another school.
That's right.
And no matter how long it takes, I need to do that. But I know she would literally tell me, you finally did it.
There you go.
Like, and I firmly believe that.
Well, let's keep moving. So, an author, right? Also, an author, you carry so many accolades that I was able to read off in the beginning there. You wrote a book, Pain into Purpose. And that's really a title that immediately resonates with anybody. But what does that phrase and what is that book about and what does it mean to you?
So Pain and the Purpose it's stories of my life wrapped up within the past 12 years, including some of the stuff we talked about, the ACL injury and the passing of my mom. But it's a blueprint for discipline and lasting transformation. But I'm telling you my story and how I got over a lot of these painful moments and trauma, and I've been able to transform all that into the purpose that I feel like I'm fulfilling in life. So the ability to give back to others, the ability to define what life means to you and, find a career, find a way to understand that pain is not the end. It's
Yeah.
actually the beginning. And if you can kind of fathom that and understand that, you can kind of use pain as fuel to get to your destiny as far as whatever you want to do in life.
Yeah. No, that's great. What do you think the difference is between people who grow through their pain and adversity and the people who just stay trapped by it?
The method, there's a method within the book I call the React model, and we can get into that too, but it's a mindset. So again, you ask the question, is it happening for you or to you? And you have to be able to separate the two because pain is going to happen no matter what. It's inevitable. Like we're all going to go through something. So your ability to organize it, use it, and move through it, then you'll actually be okay in the end. That pain's not going to go nowhere. It's still going to be there, but you got to be able to grow through those moments. That's what adversity teaches you. That's how you build resiliency. And that's how you're able to get to the finish line or whatever it is that you're trying to get through or get
Well,
to.
let's dive into your React method, right? Can you tell us what React stands for and what this model is all about?
Yes, absolutely. Something I created while I was in school, but in the midst of creating my innovation for my project, I started realizing like I've been doing this since I was a kid, since I was like 5 years old when my dad left and trying to understand like what does all this mean and how am I getting through these painful moments? And I ended up birthing the React model, which are resiliency, E is for emotion, A is for activity, C is for connection, and T is for transition. So when you're combining all these things, and I actually use it with my friends around like when they're kind of going through stuff to kind of see like, okay, is it applicable? But I do it all the time. But do you have the protective capacities or the strength to understand that you are resilient, or what have you been through that tells you you have the strength to kind of get through the next step? So when you're transitioning into the emotional aspect of it, what emotions are you feeling right now? Are you emotionally aware of what's going on inside of you? Because some people feel stuff, but they're not emotionally aware.
Yeah.
Like you have to be aware as well, okay, when this happened, I felt this, whether it's sad, happy, joyful, whatever the case is. But when we're talking about pain, people mix emotions. It could be anger, sadness, and you can get them mixed up. But are you aware of which one is which so you know when to pivot?
Yeah.
And then you have activity, which is my favorite one, using movement as medicine. Are you lifting weights? Are you playing basketball? Are you going on walks? I just talked to a friend the other day who running his business, he got a real nasty text from a client. And he said, luckily, he happened to just be walking and he walked for like an hour instead of being in his office because he was getting ready to reply. He said, nope, I'm gonna finish my walk. And then it changed his whole mindset.
Yeah.
So again, being out there in the sun and walking around and using activity as medicine, the gym saved my life, literally.
Yeah. I
Like I can't thank fitness enough for me being active and releasing, those negative hormones that or negative thoughts that I may feel within moments where it's just like, okay, I can release my aggression in here.
Yeah.
So when we
Same.
talk about connection, who are you involved with? Who are you able to connect with? When I talked about my ACL injury, my physical therapist, my wife, my mother-in-law, all these people who I was surrounded by when I wanted to quit would not allow me to do so.
Yeah, that's good though. And
Yeah.
I too love physical fitness, and I always have to chase something, right? I call it a BHAG, big hair audacious goal. From jujitsu, formerly I would do amateur MMA fights, to ran 2 marathons now, and I've always loved lifting weights and have really since I went to military school when I was 16. But you achieved something that I don't even what's the percentage? 1% of the world achieve? I don't know what the percentage is.
What they say.
Yeah, you went on to become, and I was guessing that. I didn't know that stat, but I'm guessing that you went on to become an IFBB pro. Like you became a professional athlete, a professional bodybuilder. That's not something that could happen by accident. So let's talk about how you got there, and let's even go a little bit further to say what did bodybuilding teach you about discipline?
I got there again, the pain side of it. When my mom passed in 2018, I found bodybuilding before that, but I got into it the next year. And I placed dead last my first show. And again, like the stubbornness, like I was only supposed to do one show. And I
Yeah.
told him, I was like, no, I can't fulfill a promise like this. Like, that's crazy. Like, no, when's the next show? So I ended up doing a few more. And then I found out you can turn pro.
Hmm.
And once I found that out, it ignited the kid in me that wanted to go pro in basketball.
That's right.
So I became relentless with that goal. Like, I don't care how many hours and days and shows it takes, I'm going to fulfill it. And that's when I started to understand what hard work was. I was good at basketball. I could have been great if I applied this mentality and this work ethic that I learned in bodybuilding and this form of discipline into basketball. Bodybuilding is just you. Like, yeah, your coach gives you the plan. They tell you, eat this, do this amount of cardio. They're not watching you. You have to go do it. You have to get up at 2 a.m. This is my schedule now. 2 a.m., do my cardio, fix my food, leave the house, go train my clients, get to work. I still got to do my lift in the afternoon. I got to fit all this stuff in because you still got to recover, you still got to sleep. It's all these things that are regimented into your plan. You have to do that, even when you don't want to. And that's what bodybuilding taught me. When I don't want to do stuff, you still have to do it because that's for the better good as far as whatever the goal is you're trying to get to.
So obviously we talked about physical and mental a little bit here, and it sounds like you obviously conquered both in order to achieve it. What habits from bodybuilding do you think you currently apply to every area of your life?
The freedom of choice. A lot of
Hmm.
people think like when you're in bodybuilding, you're trapped to a diet. No, I still have a choice to eat and do whatever I want. But the power in saying no, the power in sticking to something, the power in fulfilling your goals and knowing like no matter how long it takes, you will get there, maybe at a snail's pace, it may be at a flash pace, but you will get there as long as you follow the plan, follow the structure.
Yeah.
And that's what bodybuilding has taught me. It's taught me structure, and I apply that to everything. Everything needs to have some type of structure to it, some type of plan to it. And if you can execute those two things,
Yeah.
you'll fulfill the goal.
Yeah, that's amazing. You know, as you look back over your journey, and we're looking at athletics, social work, writing, research, formal education, speaking, which even is what brought us here today. Of all those things, what would you say you are most grateful for?
I'm gonna say the book, to be honest with you. My mom is through all throughout that book. And I've envisioned myself becoming an author. I just never knew what or like what topic or how I would do it. And when I really started diving into it and I understood like, okay, this is the process. And then going through my doctoral journey, it was like, I know exactly what I want to write about because again, the React model came out of that.
Yeah.
And I wanted to tell my story as far as all this pain and trauma I went through was not my ending story. I'm most proud of that because of the simple fact that it was a dream of mine to become an author, but there's so many influences behind that of people close to me, and I was able to tell a story about, me and my mom and, the pain that I went through, and hopefully it helps people. That's the ending goal of this. Like, if I can help one person through my story and the trauma and pain that I went through, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I like that. And that almost leads to the next thing, right? What impact do you hope that your message, that your story has on the world?
That people can keep going as long as they show up.
That's right.
Like, as long as you show up, no matter how hard it is, you'll be able to get to where you want to go. And some days are harder than others. Some days may be easier, like emotions waver, motivation wavers, but you have to be determined enough to keep showing up for yourself. And if I can provide some type of inspiration or motivation to help get you to that, again, if it's one person, I'm okay with that. If it's millions of people, I'm okay with that too. But the best way that I believe I can help people is telling my own story. I've made it through tons of adversity and I still go through it every day.
Yeah.
So here I am telling my story.
I love it, and I'm glad you are. As we start winding down, I love going through some rapid fire questions, and these are meant for you just to give whatever is the first answer that comes to mind. And we got about five of them here. And so let's fire through some rapid fire questions and see what we come up with.
Yes, sir.
So, what's one lesson that pain taught you?
To be resilient and I can build strength through it. Like no matter what, like I'm going to get something out of this. I may not realize it in a moment, but I'm going to get through it and I'm going to get something out of this.
What's one thing that sports taught you?
To be competitive. I'm ultra competitive and in a good way though. Like
Yeah.
in any field, like there's rankings in anything. You want to strive to be the best at whatever it is that you do. But in bodybuilding specifically, if I'm getting 1% better every day, then that's a good thing.
What's one habit that changed your life?
Scheduling. I sucked at organizing, scheduling, and I realized as I get older and I'm getting more into things, structure and scheduling becomes pivotal.
Yeah. And then the last one for these rapid fires is what does purpose mean to you?
Understanding that you're here for a reason.
Yeah.
Everyone has a reason why they're here. You just got to figure it out and fulfill it.
Yeah, that's good. Well, Jonathan, I want to thank you personally for spending some time with us today with myself and then also for our listeners to hear or see. One thing that really stands out to me is that pain doesn't automatically make us stronger. It's when we choose to learn from it, to go through it, and then of course to serve others with what we learned from it. It
Yeah.
truly can become one of the greatest gifts that we ever receive. And so for everyone listening today, whatever challenge you're facing, don't waste it. Learn from it, grow through it, and let it become the foundation for the life that you're meant to live. Because your greatest setback may become your greatest platform.
Mhm.
Jonathan, if somebody wanted to connect with you or even to work with you or just even follow you on social media, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Social media, you can follow me at Pain Into Purpose Official on Instagram. You can visit my website, drjonathanreese.com, and all my information as far as phone contacts, emails, everything will be on my website, which literally brand new, just started about a month ago as I make this transition. But those are the two best platforms you can reach me on.
Well, that's awesome. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to look up Dr. Jonathan, I highly recommend it. Thank you, everyone, for joining us for another episode of the Salem Speakers Podcast. We'll see you next time.